Hello and welcome to Cult Confessionals. This is Sloane McCraw. This is my interview podcast show where I go and get people from the SIU and Carbondale area and talk generally about art and processes that generally are from the area. Today I have...
Everett.
Everett is currently in the band Pet Mosquito in Carbondale and is also a student, if I'm correct.
Yeah, at the moment, doing pretty good.
All right. So, Everett, I'll just start out with the easy question. So what are you majoring in currently?
I am currently majoring in printmaking. Today, I actually, if this affects anything, just let me know. Told my advisor that I will not be attending school next semester.
Oh.
But I'm majoring in printmaking and going strong for the rest of the semester.
Right. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to judge.
I might be back.
This interview is about you, so don't you worry about it. So then we can just go ahead and move on to the fun, not school-based stuff that I ask. So I'll just be broad and ask, what is Pet Mosquito?
Pet Mosquito is a group of friends that hang out and make sounds, and they let me play my weird, crappy songs, and some people like them.
How did y'all end up starting the band?
That's kind of like a very complicated story, but to make it really easy, the super awesome drummer, Brigitte, and I used to play a long time ago when we were really, really young. And then we stopped playing for a while, and after high school, when I think it was my first or second semester in college, I took an audio mixing class and had to write a song for it. Or I guess I just kind of chose to write a song, and that song kind of became a band after our bass player Evan and I started being like, hey, we should start a Ramones style copy band. And that's kind of where it started, and then it grew from there.
All right. So Ramones style is at least how it started, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was in a lot of other bands in high school and middle school and elementary school, and they all kind of wanted to be punk, but I never really listened to punk rock that much when I was really young.
Yeah.
So then in early high school, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing, and the Ramones were my first favorite punk band. And then you can always add art stuff, which I was really interested in doing.
Yeah. So among making the music and everything, you guys seem to be pretty prominent about the other things you make to accompany what you do. I know that your t-shirts are especially very cool, and I'm planning to pick one up eventually. But what is the general process for incorporating anything like that? Just through design or just things that you were brought up?
Well, it's always just has to be fun. It's fun to make things by hand, and it's also fun. I was always somebody that wanted to when I finally got to a show to have something that I could take home, especially something we try to make everything by hand because it can be really cheap, and so you can just give stuff to people when people don't have money, because I never have money. People would always be really nice and give things to me at shows when they knew I cared. So when we see people that care, it's fun to here's this $3 sticker that's $1, whatever, who cares. So that's fun, and it's also I don't know, it's fun for a band to have physical things as well. Don't limit yourself to just one medium. Yeah.
And then going beyond that, is there a general process that you might fall into when you're creating something new, whether that be music or anything just art-based, or what you might do?
Yeah, I mean, there's different processes. It kind of all just comes from what inspiration I want to take things from. Some things come from dreams or just real life weird stories. But it's usually just try to find the grossest thing and then make it catchy. in whatever way, but like don't make it not interesting. Like whatever you do, like make it feel like you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So talking about you personally, through the just timeline of you, when did you start really making music and everything?
I was raised by 2 radio DJs.
Oh.
So like I don't know. My parents were always playing music when I was like really young. So I think I like picked up a guitar and wrote a first song when I was like 6 or something. And then I don't think any of that really counts, but I started playing with Brigitte in like 4th or 2nd or 3rd grade. She's totally not here in the room fingering letters and numbers to me. Yeah, we're gonna go 2nd to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
We played in a super awesome cover band with the name of an actual band. And yeah, and so that was fun. And then definitely like when I was in middle school, like skipping class to play weird songs on the vibraphone was also like something weird and fun to do. And I don't know, yeah, kind of just comes in phases.
That's absolutely fair. What all instruments do you play? Because I feel like there's a decent range by now, if not anything.
Yeah, I think I counted a long time ago, and it was like 17 or 18. It's like a bunch of ridiculous crap. I'll try to name a few. I play drums, guitar, bass, keyboard style things. Any percussion thing is pretty easy to do if you can count, so I'll include myself. I've dabbled in kazoo, violin, banjo, mandolin. We're like recording some stuff right now, and I like put fiddle on it, but I really can't play fiddle. But like legally, I do. And yeah, just anything like spoons. I can play spoons pretty good. I've been getting that one down. And yeah, I'm really like a big fan of tube and throat singing, but I haven't mastered it yet. So we're not.
It's a toughie.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. And then it's like a cultural thing, so it's only in the shower, but it's good to practice.
Yeah. I'm personally really only ever adept at the kazoo, and I say that as I can peek over your shoulder and see my guitar in the corner.
Nice.
But that's in process.
Yeah. Everything we do is in process.
Hey, that's how life is, really.
Yeah. Slide whistle, that's a good one.
Slide whistle.
Yeah.
I think I could pick up a slide whistle pretty decently.
They all do. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody can. It's very easy.
Percussion, though, I don't know. I can't count past 10, personally.
You only need 4.
Oh,
You really
guys,
only need 4.
I might have an in.
You might have an in, yeah.
I'll go ahead and break the convenience of the 2 people rule. And Brigitte, do you think I have an in? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a yes. Yeah.
That's a solid.
you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
I'll start playing drums tomorrow, guys. I'll buy a drum set tonight.
Sweet.
So, are there any other art forms besides music that you like to express yourself in? Just
Yeah, for sure. Well, I chose printmaking because, I don't know, my dad was a printmaker, and I just love the way that art form looks and how long it takes to make a print.
yeah.
And like how much effort it is. So like the process of like things that take like a long time are always fun. I paint occasionally. I do like a lot of drawings. I made like a bunch of crappy like short films and like music videos. That's always really fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I spray painted some stuff, but I don't know if that's necessarily a creative outlet.
I'd say it is.
Yeah.
Anything that I was going to say making, but if you're destroying stuff, I feel like you can get some pretty good creative outlet from there.
Yeah, and then where is that line anyway?
Yeah. To create versus to destroy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, you're creating the act of destruction, right?
Creating
Subjective.
a vibe.
A vibe, yeah.
That's probably the
That's what we're going
dumbest
for.
way I could say that. Oh, I'm a media major. I'm in over my head.
Gotta ride the vibe.
So, digging back a little, you were in a band called Bewitchin' Pool. Are you guys still doing anything?
Not currently. I know there's been some talk, but every time we get together to practice, somebody doesn't pick up the phone. Usually it's me. Sometimes it's somebody else, or somebody will show up and then other people aren't there. So it's a little complicated, but I definitely would love to do that again sometime. I know time is a big thing.
Mhm.
Kat is in a very dedicated band, Children of the Rat Temple, and then Christian is in a few bands too, and he's playing bass. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but I don't doubt that we'll play soon.
Alright,
It's in the works.
Heck yeah.
Maybe.
Get the gears moving. So, is it fair to assume that by now you've been fairly well traveled amidst tours and just normal life?
I guess so. Always feel like I need to travel more, but we do get out a little bit. We've been out west. We've been through the Midwest a little bit. Excuse me, I had a beer before this, a little burpy. And we've been down south. I haven't really been out east too much. I went to Canada one time, but I haven't been too far. But I am privileged to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
Something I'd love to do more.
Is there anywhere that you'd particularly like to revisit?
To revisit, yeah. One of my favorite places was a place that Evan and I went in California, and we kind of just like, it was the first time I ever saw like the Pacific Ocean. We just like drove to this beach. I had no idea where it was. We just kind of ended up there, and it was like super pretty. And it looked like what you would think like Maine looks like if you've never been to Maine, and I've never been to Maine. So it's like California, Maine. And I don't even know the name of the town, but I want to go back there sometime because it was really cool.
All right. Any place that you'd like to travel that you haven't yet?
Yeah, I've heard Berlin is cool.
Berlin.
Or Mexico City. I want to see Frida Kahlo's crib.
Oh yeah. Any particular reason why those locations?
Yeah, Berlin is like hella goth and weird, and that sounds cool. And I like pretzels. And Mexico City is awesome. Our friend Vinny said they have like luchador fights and like giant beers for $1. And Mexico is raw, and I like that element of danger.
Keep life dangerous.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm not one to shy away, so.
Sweet. You're from Memphis, right?
Yes, I'm from Memphis.
That's one of my favorite places ever.
Yes. Yeah, you guys, how many times have you been to Memphis?
Not as many as you'd think. Probably like only a few. The first time I went down there in like middle school or like for like a band trip, but that doesn't count. But Evan and I went down there when it was just us in the band and like recorded some crappy stuff and went down and like it was crazy. We like met Eric Oblivion from the Oblivions at Goner Records and like put a CD together and then filled that CD like with hair and then put that in like a tinfoil like little like contraption. And so we met him and he like put it on his head. He's like, oh, this will protect me from the aliens. But really it just had a bunch of my hair in it and he looked ridiculous. And then we like went to Sun Records and like got to go backstage, I don't know. It was really cool. Memphis has always been really kind to us.
Oh yeah.
It's the home of rock and roll.
Yeah. And then have you only performed at Lamplighter before?
We did High Tone one time.
Dang it.
And that was like the first show we played down there with Little Baby Tendencies.
Yeah.
And then we did Lamp. Have we played down there again? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we just did those two shows.
Okay.
And we're set to play DKDC for Gonerfest with Sweet Knives.
All right.
Gonerfest unofficial after party, just to be clear. Not that cool.
I'll have to get tickets.
Oh, you don't have to. You can just show up to that one.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you have to get tickets for Gonerfest, but
Oh.
not the like after party. Like, this is like at DKDC. It's not like
Alright.
official.
Let's go. Okay.
Off the record.
Off the record. Adam, delete that one. So, for you personally as well, is there any kind of media or art forms you choose to consume in your own free time? I say that really weird.
No, that's totally fine. Yes, I love whatever weird movie I can watch when I have the time. I don't know. Yeah, it's usually just weird Australian music right now.
Okay.
Yeah, anything from like around the world that's like kind of has like a folk art twist to it is always interesting. But yeah, I look at printmakers from like Oaxaca. There's a bunch of like great like Latinx printmakers up in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of prints and a lot of weird movies.
Oh yeah. Is there anything that you're working on currently that you are excited for?
Yes. We are currently working on a thing we're gonna try to put out in like late June, July,
Okay.
possibly August on our schedule right now. But we're like home recording some stuff. We're gonna have some friends mix it and master it. Hopefully, it'll kind of be like a little collective thing. But it'll be out on cassette, I think. We'll do like a cassette release. Yeah. So that should be cool. Yeah, not too much besides that. I have some like physical art I might put up somewhere, but that's still in the works.
All right. So, thinking about Carbondale in particular for the sort of backdrop for what you're doing, how do you feel about that, just in general?
About Carbondale?
Just Carbondale in relation to maybe its influence on what you make and as the place that you make it.
For sure, yeah. I think it's super inspirational because you have these shows that a lot of people, even if it's the same people, like the turnout is almost always pretty good because nobody has anything else to do. And, you know, everybody usually works or is at school. And so on a Friday or Saturday night, you have like a really positive response. But I'm also from here, and I know it's like not always like that, especially like a lot of kids that are, you know, maybe just like a little bit younger than us, like probably aren't coming to those shows, especially if they're from towns from like right outside of Carbondale. And like I spent most of my life in Murfreesboro, which is like kind of almost even like a totally different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even a little more progressive now, but it was like very, I don't know, very stuck in the past. And even if you go like 45 minutes in any direction, like it's almost like you're driving back in time. Like some of these towns are like just so not even like desolate, but just like caught. It's like the Twilight Zone or something. Like you're walking into this town where it's like, whoa, this is not exactly how things work in Carbondale. But yeah, there's like something about it where there's like nobody here that's like really trying to like put out bands bigger than Carbon. Like I don't know, there are a bunch of great local record labels and things like that, but there's no like big A&R guy or something that is like wanting you to make music one way, and so there's like no pressure. Like you can just make whatever, and that's why we have so many great bands here. And just like it being kind of a janky town gives it a lot of mystique, and that's why I feel like it's still non-super gentrified right now, and it's still a fun place to be. Yeah.
Do you have any particular fun Carbondale stories to share? It doesn't have to be really about Carbondale or really matter that it took place here, but just that it did.
Oh my God. I don't know. It's hard the hardest part about Carbondale memories is you don't really remember them. And I don't really know if those are still considered memories. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a few, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Anytime we go out to a show, it's great. Like, the Lost Cross anniversaries are always, like, super fun. I think the first time I went to Lost Cross was, like, not the most recent one, but, like, a while ago, whatever that one was, the 25th, the 30th? The 30th, yeah. And it's always cool to see, like, really old bands in Carbondale. For me, it's, like, always been the music, like, seeing bands, but then also, like, hiking and swimming are, like, other big things that are fun to do. Yeah, and the weed's pretty good. So, like, you know, what could go wrong?
Fair enough, honestly. So are you a general enjoyer of the Carbondale nature, or just nature, I should say?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't stopped figuring out how to get out, but I appreciate being here every day. It's nice. Um, it always keeps you on your toes. You'll always see something weird. I saw a cat today, like, that had, like, its, like, tail was cut off and the bone was, like, sticking out.
Oh.
And I gave it, like, a piece of chicken. And so it's, like, just stuff like that. Like, you might see that in every city. That's not, like, I don't know. But those are, like, the things I, like, really appreciate. I appreciate, like, the seasons changing. Like, I lived in California for, like, a summer, and they were like, this is how it is all summer. Or, like, not all summer, but, like, all year. And I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds horrible. Like, I wanted every season, maybe a little less drastic, but beggars can't be choosers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. It's a very moody place to live.
Okay.
Like, humbly moody. I don't know.
Humbly moody.
Yeah, that's great. It's good stuff.
All right. So since we already have Brigette and Evan in the studio today, we're going to go ahead and swap out. But Everett, is there anything like closing remark wise you'd like to give out to anyone?
Yeah, I'd say everybody in some form should try to make music, even if it sounds horrible. Like, everybody has the right to do it. It's free. You don't have to have an instrument to make music. And you don't have to do it for anybody else, but you should do it for yourself because it will save your life, and it's really helpful and nice.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Everett. You've been awesome, and we'll keep it rolling. Just to go ahead and put it out there, Pet Mosquito is releasing their 7-inch vinyls at some point within the year, but you can check out their Instagram for more, and I will detail that in the description of this video.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. So we have pulled Everett off the couch extremely dramatically. That was
fuck
done
him.
away.
Get him out of here.
Everett may never be seen again, but we'll have to wait and find out about that, I guess. So now we have
Brigette.
Brigette is the drummer for Pet Mosquito and a current runner of Lost Cross.
Yeah, I live there. I don't know if I really run things, but I unlock the doors when there's a show.
All right. Heck yeah. So, current inhabitant of Lost
There we
Cross Punk House, one of the oldest punk houses in the nation.
I think it's the longest running punk house is like the official sentence that people use after. I feel like they have to like be like it's the longest running. You know, I don't know if it's like the oldest like that's ever been. I don't know. There'll be some old dude that's like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about.
You should have seen. You should have seen Ratchet House out in Oklahoma, guys. So I'll go ahead and ask you, what are your general interests within making just art?
I think, I don't know, it feels kind of goofy, but like with my mom being like a like educator for like younger grades, I think she used to teach kindergarten for a while and now she teaches 2nd grade, but at a young age she like pushed like, not like pushed, but like, I don't know, she wanted me to like explore different art levels and like forms just because that's like a good creative outlet for like kids to have. So I think she always like supported like, I don't know, like drawing or like she put me into drum lessons when I was pretty young because she found out that guitar was not really for me. I couldn't sit through a guitar lesson for my life. So she was like, all right, we'll put you in drum lessons because you have to actually sit here and use your feet for something. But yeah.
Solid. All right. So have you mostly just stuck with drums then over?
Yeah, I feel like that's like my like main form of like output. Like I draw a bit, but it's not like something I really do. It's just kind of something mindless that I enjoy like on the side or something.
Mm-hmm. Just like sketching the margins kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any type of art that you enjoy?
I don't know. I feel like I just doodle. Like I don't. I feel like I can't really like. I don't know, like I never really got into like painting or anything, but
Yeah.
I do like little doodles on stuff. I enjoy that.
Right. What about more of the stuff that you like to look at? Just if there's anything in particular. And I say
I
art, but also mean like film, television.
Yeah, I really like I don't know. I really like horror. I like really enjoy like I don't know, like older like horror films or like even like I don't know, I like the fact that like really old like luchadors like like in the like early like or like late 60s, early 70s, like whenever they started being in movies, it was like I don't know, the Blue Demon fighting like the Evil Dead and like stuff like that. I always liked I don't know. I always liked that they like I don't know, there's like a superhero fighting off these like random werewolves and it's all like a little fantasy and like I always thought that was cool. I feel like that stuck with me.
So it seems like more of like a general absurdist sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Just this would sound cool. Let's do it, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So I already asked a lot about Pet Mosquito. I feel like I've exhausted those questions for this. What is it like living in a punk house?
It's I don't know, it's super cool. I feel like with Lost Cross especially whenever I like first moved in, like you just like sit and look at the walls and read the posters of like all of the shows that have happened before you and then you just like I don't know, it kind of humbles you in a way. 'Cause I never thought that I'd be like living there and then like randomly I was like I was just like asked and I was like, well, I have to jump on this opportunity. Like, I don't know. Like after I was asked, I was like, I have to do this. Like it's amazing. I really like living there.
Yeah. All right. So are you a student at SIU?
I am.
Are you staying? That's gonna be my first question from now on.
I am staying. I don't know. For right now, I'm a classics major, which is fun. It's a lot of writing papers though, so I don't know how long I'll be doing that.
All right.
But I don't know. I've started taking like different like 3D art classes and like I don't know. I really like sculptures and stuff. Like I don't know. I feel like that medium like speaks to me more than what I'm doing now.
Okay. Just working in the 3D space more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there any? Are you like an art museum enjoyer or anything?
It depends. I feel like sometimes like I'll like I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'll get into a museum and like catch myself not appreciating stuff like most people would, but I feel like when I do go to like find like a museum that does have like three-dimensional art, I catch myself staying in rooms or looking at certain things more. It engages my mind better, I think, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel about Carbondale as the sort of backdrop or just location of what you make?
I think for me, Carbondale has had some like ups and downs for like my music, like or like being a musician, like and like my progress in that. But I had like a super great teacher at a young age that like I will always shout out. His name is Chad Schaefer. And he always like, I don't know, he was always super kind and like helpful. That's like, he's like the reason that me and Everett met when we were younger. Because my mom was like, I can tell that she's playing the drums, but I can't tell that it's music. And then he was like, I've got a guitar player for you. And so I think he just like, yeah, Chad just like randomly put us in a room together and we like sat there for an hour because we were in like 2nd and 3rd grade and we didn't say a word to each other because we were like, he's gonna come back eventually and like help us out. And then we just figured like, well, I guess we should talk to each other. But yeah, he was, I don't know, I was taking lessons with him for like a long time and he helped me a lot, and I don't know, helped with confidence. I feel like a part of the reason why it was kind of harder in Carbondale was like being a female musician. Like there are some people that really don't think that you're gonna be good or like have anything to offer for them, but he was like, you know, show them that you do, and that was really nice to have.
Awesome. All right, I guess we can go ahead and wrap and get Evan on this couch,
Cool.
but do you have any closing remarks?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we'll leave it at that. I don't have a lot to say unprompted. Sorry, guys.
All right, it's absolutely fair. Well, thank you for
Thank
joining us
you.
today. All right, let's get Evan in here. All right, so Brigitte has now been ejected from the couch, flown through the ceiling,
outta here.
and is currently lying on the pavement outside. We will check on her in a little bit, but for now, we have
Evan. What's up?
Evan is the bass player of
Yes.
Mosquito. I said that really mean. Evan is the bass player of
The
Mosquito.
bass player.
The bass player. All right. Oh, God.
It's all right.
Bass player derogatory. All right. So, I guess we can go ahead and run through everything. Are you a student at SIU?
I am not.
No.
Fuck that.
We have a whole range on this couch today, guys. A student, a not so student, and a not student.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
So we've kind of heard the story of Brigitte and Everett meeting. How have you stumbled into everyone to ultimately become Pet Mosquito?
Well, I guess for me, it all started in high school, I guess I'd say. I had some classes, some mutual friends with Everett and Jesse, who's our trombone player / keyboardist. We all met in high school, just kind of having shenanigans together, and eventually somebody brought up starting a band. And that's kind of where things snowballed from there. But yeah, it was mostly a lot of spray painting shit and knocking stuff over before that.
All right. So, since you mentioned that, what are the types of art that you make? Just express yourself in.
I don't know. It's a lot of dabbling in little things in the past, doing small stuff in art classes in middle school and high school and stuff. But ever since then, it's mostly just been messing around doing Pet Mosquito, little art projects, and any kind of merch, any kind of music that we decide to put out. That's what I've been up to as of lately.
Awesome. And I should have mentioned this, but Evan, you are also an inhabitant of
Yes,
Lost Cross.
a dweller.
A dweller of Lost Cross. That is a much better term. So what is that just for you?
It's definitely an experience. It's a bit of a learning curve, but it's definitely a lot of fun for the most part. I like throwing shows, meeting a lot of new people, having fun with touring bands. That's probably my favorite part of it. But I don't know, for the most part, it's a lot of learning as I go.
Yeah.
Picking things up, trying to figure stuff out. But I feel like I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Are you more on the front of finding bands to come and play, or?
I feel like I do equal parts of everything. Taking care of the house, finding new bands, collecting money for the touring bands and everything. I feel like it's a pretty 50-50 split between the two people living there. But it's a good time for sure. Not a whole lot of work.
It's a sure shame Brigitte is now gone, laying on the pavement
Right?
outside. All right. So I'll go ahead and ask you this now as well. How do you feel about being in Carbondale as that of the backdrop of your art?
I don't know. It feels a little strange kind of looking from the inside out just because I've lived here my whole life. but every time I leave town, Carbondale feels a little weirder. But it's definitely a cool space because of the scene we have here. I feel really lucky for all the people who play in bands here and all the people who come to see shows every time there is one. I feel like every time I leave town, I kind of realize how lucky we are to have that here, because it's not such a given as soon as you get into like even bigger cities. Like, you'll talk to people and there's no house venues there, there's no crazy weird punk shit. It's just a bunch of people doing the same thing, and I don't know, it's really nice to have Carbondale for that reason. But there's some drawbacks at the same time, so
That's fair.
kind of got to take what you can get.
I can actually speak to that a little bit. Being from Memphis, I've gone to one Memphis metal show, and I was the only one at all moving the entire time.
Right? Yeah.
I
It's
love
always
you.
a good crowd here.
I love you, High Tone, but I was definitely trying to get thrown on the floor.
Right? Yeah.
When did you start really playing any instruments?
I don't know. I feel a little different than everybody else in the band. I feel like everybody's been playing instruments in school bands and stuff ever since they were little. But the first time I picked up an instrument, I was probably 18 years old. I just got a bass lesson from Everett. Got drunk one night. He was like, "Come on over. We're gonna teach you how to play bass. We got some ideas for some shit we need to work on." Sounded like a good enough reason to have a new hobby for me. So went over, learned some stuff, and that's pretty much how I started out. After that, I just didn't know what else to do. There's nothing else to do around here, so I figured I might as well be in a kick-ass punk band.
I think Carbondale has that effect.
Right? Yeah.
Someone's picking up an instrument sometime. Do you enjoy playing bass?
Oh, I love playing bass. I feel like it gets a lot of flack, but it's a lot of fun for me. It's a lot easier than the guitar, so that's a good enough reason to pick the bass up as any.
All right. Oh, I do have to ask, do you just use your hands or you pick?
Oh, it's a pick for sure.
Pick for sure. Okay.
I got soft little delicate hands. I can't be damaging those. I need to work during the day.
I just had to ask.
Oh yeah,
the
it's a
constant
good
bass
question
push.
for sure. It's definitely a dividing question.
So do you have any fun stories to share with us today?
Oh, you gotta be a little more specific than
All
that.
right,
I got
all right,
too
all right.
many good stories. What'd you say? Oh, Street Olympics. What you gotta do, you gotta get yourself a random fruit that falls from trees in your neighborhood. Just bowl it into your nearest gutter. It'll be the best time of your life.
Is that the entirety of Street Olympics?
No. You can pretty much make up whatever Street Olympic you want. You got a broomstick. That's javelin right there. Got any kind of object on top of ice. You got yourself curling. You know, the sky's the limit. As long as you have an imagination, you got some Street Olympics.
Where's the Carbondale Street Olympics team? That's what I need. To
Oh,
know.
right outside of Lost Cross.
Hey.
Any given weekend.
Hell yeah. All right. Diondre, how are we looking on time?
It is 42 minutes.
Awesome. This show runs 20 minutes, by the way.
Well, there's three of us, so I think we're doing good on time.
Adam, I love you. I will buy you lunch at some time. But, all right. So, do you have any closing remarks to share?
Any closing remarks? Start a band, have some fun, write some songs, drink some beers, have a good time. That's all I got to say.
Hell yeah. Sounds like a great tattoo. All right. Well, this has been Cult Confessionals with Everett, Brigitte, and Evan from Pet Mosquito, and also some general great Carbondale people that I'm very glad to have on this show. So thank you. Cult Confessionals will continue bi-weekly as usual, and I will see you next time. Love you, mean it, bye!